Hello, Tuba students. This is a lesson on Etude number 2 to get you started. Um, I may have told you that we worked on 9 through 12 in class, and that was a mistake. I was getting that confused with the euphonium and trombone lessons that I taught last week. So if you're a tuba student, you can see here I've got bracketed 1 through 4 is what we learned in class in our sectional on Monday. So I'm going to cover this so that hopefully you understand how to play it, and then you can be successful in your preparation for your sectional a week from today on next Friday. Okay, so first thing you do when you look at a new piece of music is you look at the key signature. Look over here, we've got our key, we've got 1 flat. Okay, that means B is flat and everything else is natural. And so you can see here in measure 1, I've already marked an E natural. You should go ahead and do that. Mark your E natural there. And in fact, it's good to mark all of the E naturals. So you could go over here and measure 4 and mark that E natural. Okay. All right. And you might also mark your A natural. Now, when the notes are kind of close together, you might write it underneath the note if you don't have a fine tip pencil, like mine's not very fine tip. All right, so make sure you get your A's and E naturals, okay? I recommend marking them if you tend to play E flat and A flat when you read the music, if you feel tempted to play those notes. Okay, so we kind of have addressed the key. Most of these notes should be pretty easy to read. Now we've got to get the rhythm. Okay, we're in 4/4 time, easy time signature. That's great. But there are some tricky rhythms. But the good news is that, it's really only one new rhythm that we have to learn. We see a bunch of quarter notes, we see eighth notes, and we see a half note. And we know how to count all those rhythms. There's just one new rhythm. And actually, you saw this in the Baby Elephant Walk in your class song. So this isn't completely new, but we haven't seen it very many times, okay? And so right here, this E is a dotted eighth note, and this F is a 16th note. You see how it's got the double beam right there? That makes it a 16th note, whereas the eighth note only has that one beam. Okay, so we have a dotted 8 with the 16th. So how do we figure that out? Well, I'm just going to go up here in between my etudes and make some notes for you. Okay, what does a dot do to a note? Well, a dot adds 1/2 of the note's value. Okay, so, most people, the first dotted note they learn is a dotted half note. And if you're in 4/4 time, that dotted half note, you would think a half note gets 2 beats. And then once you add the dot, you add half of 2. So you would get 3 beats, right? 2 plus 1. Sorry, I kind of skipped some steps there, but half of 2 is 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, so that half note would get 3 beats. The dotted half note, that is. Well, we can apply that same logic to an eighth note. Okay, so an eighth note in 4/4 time equals 1/2 of a beat. Okay, well, if we put the dot next to it, we have to add half of a half. Okay, and let me illustrate. If you're eating a pie, and let's say I actually, if I split that pie, I know it's not perfectly half, but okay, there's my half pie. Well, if I split that half into half, I've got now 2 equal pieces. That's a fourth, and that's a fourth, right? So half of a half is a fourth. You see my illustration there, my fancy drawing, right? All right, so now we'll add that to our eighth note value. Eighth note is 1/2. Half of a half is 1/4. We have to add these together. 1/2 plus 1/4. How do we add that together? Got to get a common denominator. If you ask your math teacher, they'll tell you that. Okay, so we have 2/4, right? Multiply the top by 2 and the bottom by 2, right? 2/4 plus 1/4. And now we can add it together. That equals 3/4, right? Okay, there we go. All right, so it equals 3/4 of a beat. Well, how do we figure out how to apply that information? What is 3/4 a beat? How do we count 3/4 of a beat? Well, the good news is that it's really not that hard. Okay, whenever we count 16th notes, and you'll see some of them down here later on in the etude, we count them. If I put a metronome on, I'm gonna put it on nice and slow. You would count them 1 E and 2 E and I'm breaking each big beat into 4 pieces, right? Okay, so let's see here. So it's 3/4 of a beat, right? So let's see. Over here we'd be on beat 2. We have a quarter note on 1. This dotted eighth we get 2 E and. That's 3, right? That's 3/4 of a beat. 3/16. 2 E and is how long the dotted eighth is. And then the F would happen on Let me zoom in, let's focus on that. So it would go 1, and this would get 2 E and 2 E and, 2 E and 3. So 1, 2 E and 3, 4. Do you see how that works? And if I don't say 2 E and, I can think 2 E and just say 2. 1, 2, 3. That's how the rhythm sounds. It goes da 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 da. You see how that works? Right now my tempo is at 41 beats per minute. And that's what we learned it in our sectional. Feel free to go faster than 41 once you've got the rhythms down and your fingerings down. So now I'm going to count the whole thing for you. And I want you just to finger and follow along. See if you can follow along. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3. Make sure that last note gets 2 full beats. So that's how the rhythm would go. All right. And so we have these dotted 8/16 scattered throughout. They're always on beat 2, and they go 2, 3, right? Okay. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully this video helps you digest that music so that you can have a good test on your Friday sectional.